and shine, it's a brand new day. I'm the one you've been searching. Come on out and play. Got your questions ready to be heard. When it comes to traffic safety, consider us your word. Got your foot on the pedal, cruising down the lanes, but there's always questions driving you insane. Well, buckle up, we're here to ease your mind. From traffic laws to police, we're the ones you'll find. Ask a traffic cop, real guiding light. Together we'll navigate, keeping it all in sight. So hop on board, let us be your guide. On this open road, we'll make your safety right. Got your foot on the pedal, ready to ride for traffic police.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Monday. Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. It's that time for Ask a Traffic Cop. That time when we get to answer your traffic and police questions for about an hour. Sometimes we go longer than that. Sometimes it's just an hour, but rarely. It seems like I always go overtime, and I like it like that. I like it like that because I'm here to help you. That's right. This is a show. It's called Ask a Traffic Cop for a reason. I'm here to answer your traffic and police questions, and I enjoy doing it. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. I don't know where I'm going with that. We're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to start off by talking about traffic. Well, the Vision Zero. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Vision Zero enforcement team real quick. I do that every single time we go on the air. It's kind of a thing. Yeah. What are they? What do they do? That's the question that is often asked. They are a dedicated group of officers who focus on traffic safety, traffic education through enforcement. Yes, they're trying to change driver behavior. They do that one ticket at a time. And what kind of things are they focused on? Speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving, impaired driving. Yeah, those are the big four. We know that those lead to serious injury and death on our roads, so we want to stop it from happening. Funny how that works, huh? A lot of people don't like getting tickets, and that's sort of the point. If you don't want to get a ticket, don't break the law. And if you do, well, then you're probably going to meet one of these fine officers. Now, they are, where are they? Well, they are in different places every single day. And if you want to know where they are, when they are, you should be following us on different platforms. Go to TrafficCop.ca. You can get links to everything. But if you go to our X platform, our Instagram or Facebook, you'll know every morning where they go because we post it there. And today, they're in 14 Division and 51 Division. Neighborhoods like Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood. Neighborhoods with real people who deserve to be safe. Yeah, we announce it to let people know where they're going to be so they can feel comfortable knowing that they were there helping to keep it safer, not warn the drivers to avoid tickets. There's a disconnect. People think we shouldn't be telling people what we're doing because we'll have more difficulty catching them. And the truth is the bad folks who drive unlawfully, I wouldn't say illegally, unlawfully, they're not paying attention. That's one of the biggest problems. They're distracted. Good morning to Tim, who says, good morning, Sean. And Julie Massey says, good morning, everyone. And Tian says, good morning, everyone. And Polly B says, good morning, Sean and others. And Polly B, thank you very much for the message. And not just because we love hearing from you, but because you were the first message to come through on TikTok, which means the link is working. Hopefully that keeps going. We got Cathrelia, who says good morning, and Radic, who laughs a lot, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was to the song. I'm not sure. Oh, there's Cathrelia, who corrected the typos. Good morning to you. Toronto Road Cams, what's happening? We've got Stop Anti-Semitism Today, who says good morning, and Louis says, Should we really leave our keys at the front door? And Louis, I will come back at that. I was talking to someone about this morning. It is good advice, and I'll explain to you just why it's so important and what it's really meant for and why there's so much confusion about it. Michael, good morning to you. Let's see here. Ooh. Just saw EMS bus with lights on the highway. This is Toronto Road Cams giving feedback. Is there a mass casualty event? I'm not aware of one, but certainly they run that bus when there are situations where they need to be able to help multiple people simultaneously. They are a great. I just saw them yesterday at the police memorial. They were set up there for just in case, but I'm not aware of anything. We'll look back and see if I can get any updates for you. Okay, Ryan Greer has questions. Oh, we got Ryan Pinn who says, good morning and happy revenge of the Sith. I've never heard that. I've never heard that before. It's obviously, we put up a message yesterday because yesterday was May the 4th. Now, if you missed May the 4th, and, we'll do the late May the 4th message. Hang on a second. I have a video that no, I don't want that. Hang on a second. Video, that's what I want. Okay. Let's load this bad boy up. This is the message that should have been played yesterday, but we weren't live. So let's play it now. Courtesy of Akela Draconis.
This is Akela Draconis reminding you to stay safe, don't have a good day, have a great day. And may the 4th be with you. This is the way.
I love it. He made that for us last year, and of course I will use it until I stop breathing, because that's the best video ever. But yes, we'll go with May the 6th. Wow, just never knew it existed. Okay. Radic stopped laughing and is now saying good morning. And Brandon is back from Florida. So good morning from Orangeville, Ontario. Let's have an amazing day. I like it. I like it a lot. We've got Avandra who's in, says good morning. Your Brazilian fan is watching again. Awesome. And as soon as I said things are working on, as soon as I said that things were working, they stopped working. I'm not getting the restream chat, so let me see if I can fix that again. I say restream chat's not working, and I mean specifically that it's not taking messages in from TikTok. But we see you, TikTok. It's going to be a little bit messed up unless I can get this to reboot. So, Zayed's message came in. So we've skipped a few. Let me scroll back and see if I can catch them. But so it's on and on again, off again. Happy Monday to Emma, or from Emma. Thank you, Emma. 1 second here. I need to cut and paste. I just don't want to see. There's a buffer, and after a certain period of time, we lose messages. I don't want to lose you, so I'm going to make a note. And Josh says good morning, everyone. Hello, Josh. Where's Notepad? Notepad, here we go. Stand by. All right. Scrolling back to see if we missed anything other than the hellos that we were covering. Do red light cameras. Okay. I got some questions here. Let's see here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we got everything. First off, do red light cameras affect insurance rates? That's a message that I can't put on screen because it was sent during the time that things were not working properly. But no, they don't. Red light cameras, if they are automated, don't impact insurance. If they are issued by a police officer, obviously they do because they're different. If I issue it, you're going to get demerit points if you're convicted, but the automated stuff doesn't at this time, but they do in other countries. You get a red light camera or a speed camera from an automated system in Australia or the UK. My understanding is they do, in fact, come with demerit points. And we recently had an episode with a guest. The guest was an officer from Australia, from Victoria, and he said that you can nominate somebody else. Wouldn't that be a great system? I nominate Bob. Bob, you can have my points. How great is that? I think it's the relay bot. Okay, I'm turning off the relay bot again because things broke again. Trying to fix it. I think the relay bot is what's causing the issue. Okay. What do we got here? We got, are car meets illegal? That's Lachlan who wants to know. And yes and no. Car meets that are lawful car meets are not illegal. Car meets that are illegal are illegal. So people who are engaged in all sorts of stunt driving and whatnot. If they're involved with stunt driving, that's against the law. Now, in York Region, they have bylaws. Now, I've not looked at what the criteria is for that. Obviously, I'm not in York Region, but I know that there are fines up to $10,000 for stores that are businesses that are promoting these things, and tickets charges available for people who simply show up. So, yeah, you may want to not go to things that are promoting illegal activity because it's bad to do that. What do we got here? Oh, okay, cool. Question from, I got to go back, so I skipped a couple. Does Motor Squad do police patrols or just motorcade? So the specialty, the special skills that they have are that of a motorcade dignitary escort and things like that. But we absolutely do, because I was a member of the Motor Squad. We absolutely do enforcement. We used to do investigations for collisions, but enforcement is a big component of what we do. But we have so many other activities that we get called to. Let's go back to here. Okay, let's get this one out of the way because this is the one that I flagged and I don't want it to disappear. Should we really leave our keys at the front door? You have to understand that it is not a theft reduction piece of advice. It is a harm reduction piece of advice. And that is because some thieves, some of whom have guns, are interested in kicking in your door and getting your keys. Now, if your keys are at the front door, the hope is that they will take the keys and move on. And if they're not at the front door, they're going to go looking for them. They might find you and ask you where they are. They may do that in an unfriendly way with a pew-pew in their hand. So, we're trying to reduce harm, reduce the risk of you getting hurt, reduce the trauma. But the fact is, someone kicking in your door and coming inside your house is trauma in itself. Taking it to the next level is just unnecessary. Does it sound counterintuitive? Sure it does. We're not making it easier for them. We're not promoting theft. We're just being recognizing the fact that we want to keep you safe and that your car is insured. And while we work to catch bad persons who are doing bad things like car theft, there's still people having their stuff taken and people still being assaulted. So we're trying to do the best we can in the situation we're in. And the people who are making memes some of them were very funny. Some TV shows really ran with it, like the comedy shows. They were not really they weren't looking at it from the right angle, in my opinion. I still think it's good advice. And that's certainly what I do. Okay, that's not to say you don't do all the other things. You still make it less attractive to steal your car by putting, club-style devices in the vehicle. You still do things like park in a good place with lots of lighting, video surveillance, Faraday bags or boxes for your keys to prevent the types of thefts that you can prevent. But when it gets to a certain level, you have to make a choice. What is the equivalent of a G2 in Quebec? I don't know. But you know who does know? Google. What's the process in Quebec? Let's find out, because I've never been asked this and I don't know the answer. Okay, how to get a license in Quebec. How do I do it? Well, give me quick learner's license, probationary license. So they have the same thing. They have a learner's permit. It looks about the same. They call it a learner's permit's a class 5. They actually may be following everybody else's. Oh, sorry. Class 5 is the full license. So what do they call the learners? They call it a learner's? In any case, they have a learner's and a probationary license. I can't see the title of it, but it exists. I'm looking at arrivein.com, daily life in Canada, how to get a driver's license in Quebec. So that if you want to look at it, Googly Goo has the answers for you. We said hi to Josh. Nassim asks how I'm doing. The answer is I'm doing fairly well. Thank you for asking. Yesterday is when my week started because I was at the police memorial and instead of sleeping in on a nice Sunday, I got up at 4:30 in the morning. But hey, what can you do? Important things to do. Go and recognize and remember and pay honor and tribute to the folks who paid the ultimate sacrifice and see the families who are continuing to pay for that sacrifice. When I say sacrifice, I mean police officers who are killed in the line of duty. We go every year. It's important to do it, and you can go watch it, the replay of it on our social media because it was transmitted there and everywhere. But I am doing well. Josh reminds everybody to please put the letter Q in front of your question. Helps separate the banter from the questions. And since I was reminded that this is on my desk, thanks to Akila Draconis for spam, it's a reminder not to spam in the chat. Asking the same thing multiple times does not make me answer you faster. If anything, it might get you muted from the chat. Okay. Can tickets be given to people driving with international licenses? Well, let's back this up. There's a foreign license, and then there's an international driving permit. They are not both driver's licenses. One is issued by your home country, where you live, and where you left to come visit us here. That is a foreign license, and depending on where you're from, you might need to have an international driving permit, or sometimes called an international driver's license as well. It is really just a translation card that allows police to look at the card that does not have English and understand what is what when trying to navigate your card. An international driving license or permit on its own is absolutely meaningless, and you cannot drive with one. So yes, you can get charged for driving with an international driver's license on its own, or permit on its own, because it's not a license. And yes, if you have a foreign license, you can get charged. There is no get out of jail free or get out of tickets situation just because you're a tourist. Sorry. And you can actually have a suspension here, even if you're licensed elsewhere, just in case you were wondering. Evandro would like to know, if you receive an electronic red light ticket and at the same time a policeman stops you and gives you a fine because he saw you pass the red light, do you receive 2 fines? Good question, Evandro. Here's the deal. I don't know whether or not the system actually gave you the ticket. A flash may have happened, and you may or may not have received the ticket. Depends on the processing system of the automated system. But we are the priority. So if we see you do something, we will stop you and charge you. And the consequences for us stopping and charging you have a greater consequence than that of the automated system. So if you get an automated ticket as well, you could always go and say, well, the policeman stopped me, and I got a ticket from them. And if they choose not to convict you or to dismiss the second charge, that is up to them. There may actually be a double jeopardy situation, but I'm not familiar with it. All I know is we are the priority. Craig Tone says they can't actually verify who is driving. It's just a monetary ticket. So that is, again, a response, and I appreciate that you're helping out in the chat. Thank you. But the deal is, yeah, it doesn't affect your insurance, but if they were to change to a system like it is in the UK and Australia, then it would. Dre wants to know if I'm going to be at the race in a couple of weeks. Which race, what location, maybe possibly would love to? Let me know. Oh, interesting. Chasm99 wants to know, are cops allowed to hide their vehicle partially, fully to radar catch infractions? So this is the question as to whether or not we can hide to do enforcement. And the answer is absolutely we can hide. Behind a tree, if we can fit, is perfectly okay. There is no rule that we have to stand outside waving with a flashlight saying, we're here catching you speeding. If you speed, just know that we're here to catch you. No, it's silly. We're going to catch you doing stupid stuff when you do stupid stuff because you deserve to be caught. There's no more, and not Chasm, I'm not talking about you specifically, obviously. I'm not suggesting that you're doing stupid stuff. You just want to know the answer to the question. But if someone is driving dangerously, and speeding, guess what, is dangerous, we have no obligation to let you know or warn you that we're doing things to catch you. We're trying to catch you. And I've said this time and time again. I don't want you to slow down. I want to catch you so that you slow down next time, so that you slow down forever. That's the hope. If you slow down because you see me, you just say, whew, I dodged one, and then you speed up again. That's the logic. Catch you, get some demerit points, possibly get your license taken away from you, maybe increase your insurance so it's no longer profitable or beneficial or cheap. It's never really cheap, but it's to get you off the road. If you don't respect the laws, you shouldn't be on the road. Dracula 2024 wants to know, if anyone's caught with a radar detector, what can happen? Well, starting, you get a $180 fine. 2 demerit points, and you'll lose the device. We have search and seizure authority, so we're going to take it. Even if we just suspect that you have it, we can search your vehicle. And people lose their minds because they say, well, what do you mean? And then, so here's the funny thing. Emma accurately responded saying search, seize, and fine, which is absolutely correct. And Dracula then answered, you're wrong. But she's right. You're wrong. To which, I'm loving the play-by-play, to which she said, LOL, okay, buddy. You should listen to Emma. She knows stuff. Let's see here. Jerry Joe What is your take on the stages of the Autobahn where there are no speed limits? Is that a good practice? So here's an interesting thing. The vast majority of populated areas have speed limits between 80 and 130 kilometers that are very, very strictly enforced by police and automated camera systems. So that's the first thing. They're designed for that speed. That's the second thing. Third thing is they're way better drivers there. Let's get real. There are way better drivers in Europe. The standards are higher. And the drivers here suck in the nicest of ways. It's easier to get your license here. The standards are lower. The policing is more relaxed. So people do really dumb things on the road every single day. That's why we have a death toll that is so high. We lose a lot of lives on the road as a result of driver behavior. They're avoidable if we could just get people to start following the law. And the people who say, but I'd like to go fast, then too bad. Go to the Autobahn in Germany. There's no speed limit there. Now, for the folks who say they have a lower number of people getting hurt, there's a lot to go into that. Partially, it's due to driver skill and attentiveness and the extreme enforcement of laws outside of the no speed limit law in those areas. But they have extreme enforcement of laws outside of the speed limit. Like, for instance, you can't be in the passing lane ever if you're not passing. And there's etiquette and people follow it. So that's one thing. The other thing is when they actually do have a crash, whoo, Nelly, it's a big one. So when they happen big, but they do happen less frequently because people are better drivers who adhere to the other rules. And here, people are just not following any of them. Okay. And let's see here. I want, what is this? Oh, Dracula says, I went to a division and what I showed them is legal in Canada. So, Dracula, what did you show them? Did you show them a radar detector? Because you asked about a radar detector, which is not legal in Canada. In fact, you can't buy, sell, transport at all, possess, use. Like, you cannot have a radar detector. So if you've suggested that you have a radar detector that is legal, you're wrong, and the person who told you it was legal is wrong. Happy day. What is this? All right. Kyle has silly questions about firearms and being robbed. Let me give you the long and the short of this one. Kyle, if you're being robbed and you have a pew-pew that is stored lawfully, you're going to have a heck of a time articulating from jail why you were able to get into your safe, get into your ammunition, load and respond. Yeah. And someone recently did this. They used a firearm and they were eventually, I think the charges were dismissed or stayed, but they did spend time in jail. They did spend lots of money with a lawyer. You can use as much force as necessary in Canada to respond to the imminent threat of death, but that doesn't include saving you from being robbed. Not really. Okay. Oh, gotcha. So Dracula may not be in Ontario because it is very much. So back to the radar detector thing, it is a Ontario law. Laws are different in every province and every state. So if Dracula is in a state or province other than Ontario, it may very well be legal. I should remind people that it says Toronto Police behind me. Maybe it's blocked by the chair. It says Traffic Services a lot, but we are the Toronto Police, and the Toronto Police Service is, oddly enough, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And thus, the laws that we refer, do we like this in black and white or in color? Yeah. We are in Toronto, and the laws that we speak about are in the province of Ontario, and they differ. So just to clarify that in case you were wondering. That said, a lot of the stuff is the same everywhere, and it really depends. Most of it is common sense, oddly enough. Okay. Tim McKnight. What is this? The new law now, we can't get a beer at the bar. Is the police station going outside of the bar? I don't understand what you're asking, Tim, because what you wrote doesn't make sense. Moving along. I got a tank in my driveway in Toronto. Am I safe? You got a tank? Like a dunk tank, a Sherman tank? What kind of tanks do you have? Now, I have a friend, or he's probably dead now, but I had a friend who had a Sherman tank at his cottage. He drove it around. He fired the gun on special occasions. He fired the cannon. I guess he had blanks in it for Victoria Day or something. So you can own a lot of stuff. What are you getting at? All right. I never see OBP on motorcycles anymore. Why no more chips? They do have motorcycles. If you look at the video we had at the memorial, OBP was there. They were on motorcycle when they did it. And we are absolutely motorcycle season time. Just because you haven't seen them doesn't mean they don't exist. They do. Okay. Michael would like to know if we can have a German police officer. He guessed. Oh, this opened up more than I thought it would. I have a new Yeti. I received a gift from the CAA. And now I am so in love with my new Yeti. Thank you, Michael, from CAA, who gave it to me. My coffee stays hot all day. Props. This is way better than my old thing. It's like I just brewed. I think I burnt my tongue. Okay. So, could we have a German police guest to explain Autobahn has speed limits in a number of areas? Probably not completely lawless. They have better driving culture too. Everything I just said, and I think it's a great idea. I will try and make contact with the German police, a highway patrolman. Yes, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to get more international coppers in here. We've had Australian, we've had coppers from New Zealand, we've had coppers from England. Like we're getting there. We've had 3 international police officers on the show. Why not go to Germany next? I love it. Good idea, Michael. Thank you for throwing that out there. We talked to this one already. Why is insurance so expensive? It's not expensive for everybody. It is expensive in general, and it has been getting more expensive because of the amount of car theft involved or taking place. But is it really expensive? Well, what I pay and what you pay are different. Your driving experience, where you live, the threats or the risk that the insurance company believes it's taking by insuring you in a particular area versus somebody else somewhere else. It's all part of the package. So if you live in an area that has high threats of theft, high threats or risks of collision, if you're an inexperienced driver with not a lot of experience, if you're young, if you're male versus female, like they take all these things in, and they're big brain people, sit with their calculators and work out the algorithms and calculations and stuff and things, and they come up with what they're willing to charge you to make it worth their while. That's it. That's why it's so expensive, because whatever the recipe is for your insurance quote, you were a good or a bad risk. That's, I think, the least technical, least fun answer I've given in a long time. But shop around. Don't take your first quote. What is this? Oh, Ontario's license classification should be the standard because it is the best. Oh, like G1, G2, G. Well, it certainly makes it easy to understand instead of class 5, class 7, class 12. I don't know. I just don't know what that means. So there you go. Zombie, how you doing, Zombie? Long time no see, no talk, no nothing. Good to have you back. I just lost your message. Otherwise, I would have put you on the screen. Let's see here. Trying to find Zombie again. Where do we go? Come on. We got a whole list of new stuff that came in, so it scrolled you right. There we go. Zombie. Good morning to you. How is the little one? We haven't had updates, so there we go. We talked to Andrew already. Zayed says, catch me, we can. Okay. I guess he wants to be caught. I don't get it. Good morning from Alberta, from Bob Jensen. Good morning to you. It's German. What are the rules for G2 drivers to drive on highways? Well, 0 blood alcohol content. And a highway is any road in the province of Ontario. I'm sure what you meant to ask was, what are the rules with controlled access highways, which are generally your expressways, your fast roads. And the rules are that, you have to have zero blood alcohol content, but otherwise, G2 drivers can drive anywhere, anytime. There are conditions between midnight and 5 a.m. as to how many passengers they can have under certain ages. Obviously, you can have no more than you have seatbelts as well, but between midnight and 5 a.m., you can't have anyone, more than one person under the age of 20 that isn't a member of your immediate family in the first 6 months and up to 3 in the second 6 months. Excuse me. What is this? 3 feet? I love the toughies who always talk about, I'm going to protect my family with my own rifle and, this bow and arrow and whatever it is that they're going to. Everyone's tough talking about weapons. But the reality is you're asleep when most of these things happen and you're not protecting anybody. Dogs are a good protection. Dogs are probably the best way to prevent break-ins because people don't want to mess with the dog. They don't know if it's a Chihuahua or a Great Dane on the other end of the door. Just saying. Is it okay to change lanes without giving proper signal or indicator in the GTA? No one cares. K, the answer is you absolutely are required anywhere in the province of Ontario to signal the intention to change direction. That includes lanes, to make a movement that could affect anybody else on the road, driving, walking, anyone. So does anyone do it anymore? I've been signaling my whole driving career. I signal all the time. I signal when I'm alone. I signal because I create good habits and then maintain those habits by continuously doing it, not wondering if I can get away with it. But I'm sure you're just annoyed at the people who don't signal, and I feel you. I do. I appreciate what you're saying. We have many drivers who don't deserve to be on the road. That's where I come in. See, I like trying to educate people, and I love writing tickets, but I can't do that anymore because I'm not on the road anymore. But I wish I was for that very reason. I'd like to take a dent out of the folks that break rules and put others at risk. Oh, well. For everyone's sake watching and everyone on the road, you're all lucky that I'm not on the road because I write a lot of tickets because I notice everything because I that's my OCD right there. I can't let it go. I can't. I don't want to. I want to issue the ticket. Anyway. Me sharing. Let's see here. Messi, Real Madrid. Can something be done against the increasing online hate to the Indian community because of international students? Listen, hate has no place anywhere. Doesn't matter if we're talking about, actually just anyone. This hate that's being directed at anyone for any reason is unacceptable. It is it's concerning. It is distressing. The communities all over the place are getting branded with the actions of one or two individuals who get caught doing something, and then suddenly everybody hates everybody. You know what? I'm sorry that you're seeing that. I'm seeing it in all sorts of areas, and it's. I don't even know what advice to go with. But what can we do? We report it when we see it. We allow the platforms that have policies to deal with it. And we continue to educate people and move on. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm not the right person for this because I'm watching the whole world in upside down situation right now. So moving along. What are your thoughts on the ticket deleting scams? Ticket deleting? I'm not aware of any ticket deleting scams. Please share with us because we'd love to know what those scams are. I like sharing scams to help educate folks. So educate us. Can legally prescribed narcotics be transported inside the vehicle or should they be out of reach like cannabis is? Yeah, like any kind of, anything that you can take that you shouldn't be taking while you're driving, you should be out of reach, similar to that of alcohol or marijuana. You can't have things that you can't have within reach because then you could have them. That would be bad. Those are all controlled. Now, if they're sealed from factory, it's a different situation. You can store it anywhere. But if the seal is broken, then they have to be stored either in baggage or in the trunk or in a combination thereof. Can the MTO issue tickets? Absolutely, they can. Can MTO issue speeding tickets? Yes, they can, but they tend to focus on commercial motor vehicles. But they absolutely can issue. They have the authority to. If I run on my dirt bike, how are you going to catch me in the trails? I don't go in the trails. We don't have trails in Toronto, so I've never had to think about it. But I imagine the trails go somewhere, and I imagine in the areas where you are, they'll figure it out. And because of the population, they'll probably say, yeah, that was Bob again. Let's go to Bob's house and wait for Bob there. I always use Bob as my example. Let's see here. Oh, he says, jokes, you're not. Well, I'm not, because I'm not chasing you in the bush. I don't go in the bush. Who goes in the bush? Okay. Stelios. I went to my bike dealer yesterday, and they had a light BX Sur-On, and they said I can drive it on the road, but to drive it mindfully. I haven't bought it yet, but what is there any risks of driving it? I would only use it to go to the gym, which is 5 minutes away. So your bike dealer is so wrong. Like, it's not legal for the road at all. It is a motorcycle. It does not qualify for e-bike regulations, which means you need license, ownership, permit. You need to have, obviously, plates attached. It has to have signals, horns. It has to be certified by a mechanic. You have to have a motorcycle license. You have to have insurance. If I pulled you over on that, I would charge you for absolutely all of that. And I would also charge you for drive no insurance, drive automobile no insurance on the road, $5,000 to $25,000, up to 6 months in jail if you're convicted, when you're convicted. That's a really unscrupulous bike dealer who just wants to make a buck. And that's wrong. They should be telling you the actual truth, that it's an off-road only motorcycle that is electrically powered and not a bicycle. So yeah, don't buy that. Buy something that qualifies as an e-bike in the province of Ontario, or in Canada, I think. In terms of Transport Canada, they're going to tell you what's an e-bike, but certainly in Ontario that qualifies as a motorcycle. Wow, it drives me bananas that people are so interested in making money that they'll tell you anything to make a buck. Let's see here. Adrian says, I avoid 400 series, the 400 series, because not only are people passing me at over 140 kilometers an hour, where'd it go? Oh, then an OPP passes me. Let's talk about that. The people who are doing 140 should lose their licenses. I don't think we should wait till 150 for stunt, but that's just me. There's no place for someone to do 40 kilometers an hour over the limit anywhere. I don't care if it's a side street or not. It's really disgusting. But let's talk about the fact that the OPP do it. Yes, they do. Police are legally permitted to exceed the posted speed limit, and they do that. Well, let's just talk about that. If they want to get after the person who's doing 140, they have to do at least 140, if not faster. If they want to find out if the person who's doing 140 is on their phone or if they're using seatbelts, I mean, I would not be doing 140 to find out if they're on their phone. I'm going to do 140 to catch them. I may have to do 180 to catch up to them. So police can do that lawfully. The person who's doing the 140 shouldn't be driving. Let's see here. Chasm99 says, wow, only $180 and 2 demerit points for a radar gun. So it's the radar speed measuring device, laser jammer, any one of these devices that interfere with it. But not only is it $180, that's basically what's going to happen in your first experience. However, it could be raised in court. You go to fight it, we could raise it. We could actually summons you to court if you're a repeat offender. The device that we take could be worth $1,000. So you don't get that back. Paolo says, good, not good. I'm not sure what he means. Dad joke from Zombie. I'll flag that for later. Zombie comes up with the best, shares. I don't know if you write these jokes. But yeah, the best ones. I flagged it for later. Are all the different driving schools out there regulated? They're supposed to be. I don't know the ins and outs of driving school etiquette and licensing. I should get my friend Scott Marshall to talk about it because he used to be the lead instructor for young drivers. He taught the driving instructors to be driving instructors. I know there's a curriculum. I know they have to meet certain things, but I don't know more. Why are people in the passing lane? Well, I assume, Paul, that they are passing. There are people who camp out in the passing lane, but here's the deal that may bother you. You know you're not allowed to speed, right? And if you're in the passing lane speeding, you're still speeding and it's against the law. So if they're driving the limit in the passing lane, they're actually lawfully in the passing lane. The speed limit is the same in all. If they were doing less than the speed limit, they should stay to the right. Now, I obviously understand that dum-dums are going to speed regardless. So if someone needs to speed and they are willing to take the risks for speeding, and so many people are, I would say the vast majority of people are, drives me bananas, then they should be able to do that without making really, really dangerous moves to pass people on the right. So if you are doing the speed limit and you're just cruising, stay to the right. If you're going below the speed limit, obviously stay to the right. Now, I don't mean that everyone should be in the right lane leaving speeders to have the rest of the highway. No, I've never moved out of the way for a speeder to make them happy. I'll move out of the way because it's less safe, sort of safer than staying in the passing lane. I'm going to stop talking about this now. But to anyone who wants to do the speed limit, just stay to the right. That's the right way to drive, and the dodos can do what they do in the left lane. It also makes it easier for us to catch them. Okay. Chad Lodge with a nice hat. I like your hat, Chad. If window tint is illegal, then why don't we enforce the companies doing them? I've talked about this before. We've actually been discussing the concept of enforcing the law, but there is no law against putting tint on windows. There's a law against driving with tinted windows on the road. If you prevent, like I can tint the windows of a house. You're applying film onto a window. What you choose to do with that once it's been installed is up to you. Now that means that we're looking at ways of changing law, suggesting and promoting this concept so that lawmakers could actually support us. But are you a party to it? Like if you knew the person was going to drive on the road after you put it on there, should you be sharing the responsibility? Maybe. We've certainly discussed the concept of laying charges in that direction. But license plate cover, piece of plastic. It's not regulated. Put it on the road on a license plate, covering a license plate. Now you drive, you're breaking the law. It's what you do with the item once it's installed that makes it legal or not legal. Yeah. But I don't disagree that would make life a lot easier. Like if we bankrupted every company that put tint onto windows because, they were party to it. They knew the person. Well, how about the ones putting it on windshields? I got to do a response video because I saw a company in Brampton installing windshield tint. Totally illegal. Why are they doing it? I don't know. They wanted money. So we're going to, I put a comment on their page saying, hey, this is illegal. Don't do this. We'll see if they're still doing it. Okay. Oh, Jonathan FS. Why would you make such a disgusting comment? It's not friendly. I mean, maybe you mean well, but Jonathan's suggesting that people who are newcomers shouldn't get licenses, but he said it in a very not nice way, in my opinion. People deserve to get licenses if they follow the rules and get their license. Pass the test. Just pass the test. Now, there's allegations that the companies and the licensing people are willing to sell their souls to make a buck and are giving people licenses who don't qualify for it. That's a different story. Those people should be held accountable and charged to the highest extent of the law. Nirari says, this is a comment in relation to something I said earlier, which was talking about why I'm assuming, the collisions. Yeah, absolutely. We have a problem with people who don't know how to drive. Dre says there's a race at it's Canadian, what is CT? It's Canadian Tire Motorsports Parkway, right? I think I got it right. 16th and 19th team will be racing at the FEL Series. Okay, I'm making a note. CTMP 16 to 19 FEL. I would love to come out. And Paul, if you're watching, I may have to come visit you because Paul's always out there. And what else can I tell you about that? That's all. To also find out if my buddy's team, another team, is going to be there. That could be a great weekend. Bring the whole fam. Greg Marshall says, good morning. Good morning to you, Greg. What is this? Kay would like to know if I can explain how red light tickets work on left turn. Is yellow light okay to make left turn? For a red light camera ticket to be issued, you have to enter the intersection after it has turned red. If you enter on a yellow, it does not issue a ticket. A police officer could issue a ticket for entering on a yellow, but not an automated system. If you enter on a green, which is when you're making a left turn, really the only time you should be entering it, enter on a green, it changes to yellow and then red, you have an obligation to clear, but it's not something that would trigger a camera ticket. Hope that explains it and hope that helps. Let me know if you need more. Ed Strange, a ham radio operator, I see. So they'd like me to review the HTA concerning amateur radios in your vehicle while driving. So unless things have changed recently, amateur radio operators, they're licensed to do so. And there is an exemption for hams to use their devices whilst driving. There's an exemption. Just like police have an exemption, a licensed ham radio operator would also have a, what's it called? An exemption. Yeah. More than that, I don't know what else I can provide to you for explanation other than what I've just provided. And a new dumping of comments has come in. I'm scrolling backwards to find where we left off. Jeremy wishes police would pull over people driving in left lanes pointlessly. Again, I will always ticket a speeder over a left lane camper if the left lane camper is being lawful. The person causing the issue is the speeder, not the left lane camper who's driving lawfully. If you're camping in the left lane doing 80 and 100, now we're talking. Now I want to discuss why you haven't pulled out. Doing 90 even. If you're not doing at very least the speed limit, okay, I get it, because now you're interfering with traffic. But if the person who wants to do 120 is unhappy that they can't break the law because of the camper who's lawfully driving, I will always give the ticket to the person who's speeding. And if you think otherwise, you should check yourself. Paul wants to know the same thing, same sort of situation as this. It depends, but I think I've covered it already. Western society seems to look at traffic laws as guidelines. That's from Darth Dave, Real World 80. Yes, unfortunately they do. And then we have a lot of people who are unalived due to the stupidity of drivers who just, assumed, I can do it, I'm safe. Let's see here. So yeah, I'm with you. I think we should have much more enforcement. I think we should have automated enforcement on every road. There should be absolutely zero tolerance, because just in Toronto alone, we lost 45 people last year. 45 in Toronto, not 45 in Canada. 45 in Toronto. It's hundreds of people across the country that are and families destroyed and communities impacted. Like, for what? So someone could have a thrill ride or get there 5 seconds earlier? Because really, you don't get there faster. Not really. Not in an urban environment. It's just stupid. What is this? Toronto. Let's see here. Scrolling through. Can I wear slippers and drive a car? Can I drive a car while I wear slippers? Legally, yes. Is it a good idea? No. I wouldn't. It's like what Jason Bourne always says. You never wear any footwear. Never wear footwear you can't run in, because you never know. Well, what happens when you're in slippers and you end up in a crash, and now there's glass and gasoline and fire, and it's a scene out of your favorite action movie, and you're wearing your flippy flop furry bunny slippers. It's not a good look. You're going to end up getting hurt. You might have to do stuff. So wear appropriate footwear when driving. Also, don't wear big bulky boots. Wear appropriate footwear when driving. Period. Ronald, I don't disagree with that, Ronald. At least the thing that I'm reading. I don't know if he said something else that I might disagree with. Please don't spam, Paul. You're repeating the same thing. We taught. Is it safer to drive barefoot when using slippers or slides? I would agree. I would think so. I think slippers or slides. I think barefoot would be safer. Here's the deal: something that doesn't properly affix to your foot could slide out, could become lodged behind pedals. The deal is that there's other issues with barefoot, and while neither are illegal, think about what's safest. You have tactile response when you can feel with your feet. My problem with driving with your feet is that when you smash those pedals and you hurt your toesies, you're going to probably have a knee-jerk reaction to pull away from the pedal, which means you're not going to be giving it appropriate pressure, or you may not. Adrian says, as military, I was posted from BC to Ontario and got caught with radar. The OPP was nice and warned only. That's discretion, right? Totally understand. Especially if you're someone who's just recently posted from somewhere else. And I think as someone in the military, you'd get a lot of leeway. And thank you for your service, by the way. I utmost respect for the military. But yeah, that's absolutely discretion. Moving along. LinkedIn user. This is a LinkedIn user with a LinkedIn question. I have a 15-year-old son who is excited to get his license when he turns 16. He wants to practice things like parking and slow maneuvering. I own private property with enough room in Toronto for him to do just that. Is it legal to allow him to do it with me, a licensed driver, supervising? So here's the crazy thing. No license is required for private property. you can let them drive on private property. And if you can do it, obviously, if they damage the vehicle, your insurance will probably not cover it because they're not licensed. But there's nothing we would do unless they were stunt driving. Stunt driving, there would be charges applicable. But just driving without a license as a 15-year-old on private property, absolutely not illegal. So you can do that and get some good experience with caution. Can a Sikh with a turban become an OPP officer, and what's the process? So yes, Sikh members of police services there are Sikh members of police services across Canada and the United States as well. So there's no issue there. The process for OPP in particular, I couldn't provide you because I don't know. I'm not a member of the Ontario Provincial Police. As the shoulder flash suggests, I'm with the Toronto Police Service, and this is a great segue to talk about the Toronto Police Service and becoming a member, because why haven't you wanted to come here instead of the OPP? Do you like blue stripes versus red stripes? That's the only difference. Oh, actually, there's a lot more differences than that. If you are interested in knowing more, let me flag this so I can come back to it. I would suggest going to tps.ca/careers. Of course, if you want to really talk about the people at the OPP, I would suggest going to opp.ca. But since we're here talking about stuff and things, let's go here. And hey, look, that talks about why Toronto. See? All the information you need to know about changing your opinion. If you click on Police Constable, you get all the information specific to the role of Police Constable, as well as the big old button that says Apply Now. But you can find out everything you need to know to start your journey. It'll explain the process, the expectations we have, and go from there. Then we have special constable roles. I believe they're still hiring for that. Parking enforcement, we're not at the moment hiring for. Communications operator, we are hiring for. Laterals, if you happen to be at the OPP, you got tired of it, you wanted to come here, you check out lateral hire. Auxiliary officer is a volunteer program. That's where I got my start in the service, and I cannot say enough good things about it. I would suggest you check that out wherever you are if you're not ready to apply today. And then there's the civilian roles. And I think this is the coolest thing, because you may not be interested in putting on a uniform and patrolling streets, and that may not be what's right for you. But you know what? You can work in a position that supports the people who go out and protect others. Senior Communications Advisor. That sounds interesting. What does that mean? It's a hybrid remote work program. It may be eligible. So what does it mean? Corporate communications. Isn't that cool? So we have a communicate. I didn't know. That's a new posting. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Hang on. I didn't actually want to leave the page. Intermediate technical analyst, audio visual, financial planner, general counsel, that's a lawyer, special constable, communications operator, and digital. I started reading developer and digital team simultaneously. Developer digital team. Those are roles that they're looking to fill right now. They don't stay up forever, so if you're interested in these jobs or have someone who may be interested, check it out, find out when they close, and tell your friends to act now, because that's the only way that they're going to be considered. You have to you have to apply to get the job. It's like to win the lottery, you have to buy a ticket. You can't get the job if you don't apply. Let's see here. Scrolling through, lots of dialogue here. Moving along. I got called to jury duty, and I don't know what to expect. I've never been called for jury duty, and I'm actually not qualified. I'm not eligible for jury duty because I'm a police officer, so I don't know what to expect either. Sadly, I can't give you any advice there. John Kearns, do you remember Mrs. Lastman selling the Fuzzbuster radar detector in the 70s? Maybe it wasn't illegal back then. I don't know. I was born in the 70s, so I wouldn't necessarily remember the ads from then. So I don't remember. Let's see here. Salvador Dali wants to know if you can defend your home with any method from robbery. No, not any method. There's a restriction. You're criminally responsible for the choices you make. Excessive force is one of those choices. If you were to use excessive force, you would be criminally responsible. What about dash cams that record red light cameras and speed traps? They don't. I guess they could record it, but they report those things. Dash cameras that report where a camera is, or a speed camera, or a red light camera, that's not illegal. Those are published on the website. That's absolutely not illegal. That is different than a radar device. Lots of people jumping in on the whole reasonable force thing. Thanks for everybody. By the way, thank you for everybody who's part of the community, and thank you for following us if you follow us. And if there are people who are here every single day, and I really appreciate you. Our super fans are awesome. For those who don't know, we do this like more often than not. We're here almost an hour, if not more, a day. And we have people who are here with us from the comfort of their homes or work or wherever you are. So if you're one of our fans who comes here all the time, we appreciate you. We really do. And yeah, if you're someone who's new, please follow us. Please like, please subscribe. If you're on TikTok, please share, like, and do that. Getting good information out to more people is a good thing. But we appreciate all of you. Okay. What? Baby is turning 1 on the 22nd. How time flies. I remember like when you were waiting for baby. It's been a year? Holy moly. Yeah. Time. Auto show was amazing. We're actually, thank you for reminding me, Indy, making a big note. I have to take the contract to the boss because we're going to be at Honda Indy. That is coming up in the not too distant future. Honda Dealers Indy. And I want to remind everybody that if you'd like to come and meet up with us and say hello, Fan Friday is free. And I'm pretty sure Fan Friday is still happening. So Fan Friday is an opportunity for you to come down to the Honda Dealers Indy. They changed the name. I have to get used to it. And say, hey. I mean, you can cover the whole weekend. You can buy tickets to that thing, but you can also make a donation and just come in. So there you go. What do you think of chrome window tint? Well, if it's for the windows left and right of the driver or the windshield, it's absolutely, positively, without question, illegal. Can't have it. Can't have reflective tint. The windows in the rear can, but not the ones left and right of the driver. You can't have any tint on the windshield, but the ones that prevent us from looking inside, if we can't see you, it's illegal. I had some interesting dialogue in my DM yesterday. I think it was my DM, not in comments. And it was a young man who, I say a young man, I have no idea. You could be a young, an old, and anything. A person that I have now labeled without knowing them, a young man, said they got a ticket. And they said, but they had 30% light blockage. So they were quite upset that they got a ticket because they had legal tint. Well, here's the deal. And I explained this to them, and I'll explain it to everybody else who may be confused. 30% is the maximum tint permitted to be certified for the road. But atmospheric conditions come into play. So if it's 30%, because the vehicle meets the standard for certification, but we cannot see in due to darkness because the lights are off. The sun went down. If we can't see you inside, we can't see inside the cabin of your vehicle because of said tint, whether it's because of color coding or reflective coating. It's illegal. Doesn't matter what the rating was for certification. And sadly, most mechanics barely know how to turn that machine on or have never changed the batteries. They have a requirement to have it, but many of them don't utilize it. So you may think you have 30% tint, but if you had 30% tint put on a 5% window, you have 35% tint, and then you're illegal anyway. And you shouldn't have been certified in the first place. So yeah, we have to be able to see inside. We have to be able to know if you're wearing your seatbelt. We have to know if you're using your phone, if you're drinking to describe you. Yeah, it's no nice. In a slow traffic, can I use the HOV lane if I'm alone? No, Victor, because an HOV lane is a high occupancy vehicle, thus vehicle lane, and that means that if you are not with other people occupying your vehicle, you are not meeting the requirements. So just because there's traffic, no, you cannot use it. Unless you have a Tesla with green plates or an electric vehicle of other sorts with green plates. Or a motorcycle, because a motorcycle you can use it on your own. Synax says, hate is a broad word these days. Yeah, but it still has no place. Let's see here. Is there ever a ride-along with other police services from other countries? Yes, absolutely, John. Our friend from Australia who was just here, he absolutely went for a ride-along. I have gone for ride-alongs with police services when traveling. I've had the good fortune of being with police services across the United States and getting the opportunity to see what they do and how they do it. It's very cool, very different. Yeah. Since I cannot tint my windshield, am I allowed to put chameleon tint on my Ray-Bans? Ray-Bans are not regulated. You can do whatever you want with them. But I think you can just buy the lenses pre-tinted. Just a guess. Ryan Pinn, I miss you. Ryan is a driving instructor in Nova Scotia and a friend to the channel and has not been around as much as he used to be. So we miss you. Ryan Curtis was rear-ended on the highway and the guy took off. I had no way to tell who it was and where he went. I take it there's nothing I can do. Ryan Curtis, I feel for you. Fail-to-remain collisions are disgusting. People do it all the time. They freak out and they take off and they don't take responsibility. Obviously, it's against the law, but they leave you holding the bag. This is one of the biggest reasons that I endorse the use of a camera system, a dash camera system. I personally would like front and rear dash cameras. If I could have quad cam, I would. Do they make a quad cam? Because I need one if they have it. And I'm in the market for one, so if someone can recommend one. My camera died. So not happy about this. It died like a month after the warranty ran out, and I called the company and they're like, well, it's out of warranty. And I'm like, you suck. Yeah, I'm not impressed. And truthfully, I bought it. It sat in a box for 2 months. So maybe if I would have started using it when I bought it, instead of waiting 2 months, I would have had it fail during warranty. But I did not do that. So now I have to invest like $600 on a new dash cam. And you say, $600, that seems excessive. And that's exactly correct. It is excessive, and that's how I roll. I want to have the best quality camera because I want to have great footage for you guys. You may notice I don't put as much dash camera footage up because I'm not recording any because my camera has ceased to be. Yeah, I'm looking. Oddly enough, I'm looking at the same manufacturer of the one that died, and the reason I'm considering them is they're offering me like 50% off if I send them back my broken unit, which still hurts because yeah. Okay. But Ryan, still put in a report. Whatever information you can give, still put in a report. Stelios X2 says, they never get pulled over by cops while driving it. Why is it that way? Why is it that way do cops just think it's a normal bike because it looks like one? Totally out of context. I don't know if we're talking about the e-bike we discussed earlier. It's been a while, so I don't know. Anyway, cops who know. If I see an e-bike of that manufacturer, which now escapes me, I would just pull it over. I don't need to see it speeding. I know exactly what it is. You're getting a ticket. You're getting charged. You're going to walk it home, or yeah, big tickets just for having it on the road. But the cops who know, and I can tell you, I field calls, 3 to 5 calls a day from coppers on the street asking to walk them through the system, the process, to ensure that their evidence after they've stopped them, because they watch the show too, and I educate the public as much as I educate the police service. They're asking for me to help them make sure that their case is ironclad, and I do just that, because what these people are doing when being on these bicycles are putting people at risk. They're like, it's like saying, and the defense people keep on. Okay, let me try and rewind and start this again. People say, well, it's only a bicycle. Well, is it only a bicycle? What's the difference between a bicycle that does 60K, and that's 60 to 80K is what those bicycles can do, the Surons, if not faster. I think they've got ones that go faster. What's the difference between that and a Harley Davidson that's powered by electricity, because they have that? And what's the difference between a Tesla and a gasoline-powered car? Shouldn't a Tesla, by the logic allowing this motorcycle running on batteries to be a bicycle, shouldn't a Tesla not be a car? Like, all you have to do is go less than 32 kilometers an hour, right? According to the logic that would suggest a bicycle that is capable of 100 be, just not, don't press the button. What I'm getting at is it's a motor vehicle. Okay. Ryan Pinn, Young Drivers has been updating its curriculum across Canada. The process is being long and repetitive to meet the standards of the MTO. Access Nova Scotia and Access New Brunswick and whatever they have in BC. Interesting. Should have a conversation. I'd like to know more. Good morning, Ryan, the Thin White Line Interceptor, who says, good morning, Sir Sean of Traffic Services. Are there any events that you'll be attending in the city soon? So aside from Honda dealers, Indy, nothing on my radar. That doesn't mean it's, not going to happen, or that there isn't anything else. But at the moment, that's the big one. I am speaking to Canada Post in the very near future. Some people there, but that's not really a public event. I can't invite you there. But I don't get out of the office very often. It's because I'm able to reach out to people like this rather than actually leaving the building. What do we have here? We have a reminder to please start your questions with the letter Q so I know that they are from you to me as opposed to dialogue amongst yourselves. And Ryan Pin follows up with, I recently taught a remedial class and someone told me that the right lane is for merging, the middle lane is for speed limit, and the left lane is for crime. Funny, but not funny. It is kind of funny. And it's sort of accurate. It's based on the behavior I observe. It appears to be what people think. Let's go with that. S. Radaki. Would you believe that there are drive test examiners who take money to pass tests in Brampton? I do believe it because there's been many reports about it. And I've seen undercover video from media going in and paying driving schools to give them a certificate as though they had passed, even though they didn't. So, do I think that it's time for new car speed governors? So, John, I actually like this idea. It was something that I've discussed with pro-bicycling and pro-pedestrian people. They've said, well, why don't we use geofenced speed limiters on vehicles so that when you are in an environment that has a speed limit of 60, why should you be able to go 61? And I absolutely agree. I think that would be great. I think no one would buy a fast car anymore because they wouldn't be able to get their thrills unless they were on the track, which is the only place you should be doing it. So I think that the lawmakers should absolutely look into this, but I think that there's so much pressure from voters that they wouldn't be able to do it. Kathrilla says, I have had my car mat slip and jam my gas pedal once. Scary. Yes. Having crap in your car, and I don't mean your mats are crap, but people who have cars full of stuff, that stuff can shift and often can get underneath pedals and cause collisions. I mean, the stuff caused the collision because the person put it there, but yeah, it's no bueno. Oh. In Nova Scotia, you can get a tractor license at 14, which becomes a learner's permit at 16. It also allows the holder to operate farm equipment on private property. Interesting, because you don't need a permit for farm equipment on private property in Ontario that I'm aware of. Ryan says, I always joke with my farm students that I hate teaching farm kids because they already know how to drive. They just don't drive correctly. Isn't that everyone, though? Everyone who takes a course thinks they know how to drive. They've all been around the block at least once with their parents. Not everyone. But yes. The problem is that everyone thinks they're a good driver. And the way to prove that is simply ask them. People think they know how to drive, even when they have no idea. But anyway, what can you do? Carl Freeman says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you, Carl. How you doing? Robbie wants to know if a civilian can do a ride along with a police officer in Ontario, and you can. There are different. Everyone has different criteria. If you were to go to a police station and say, "Hey, I'm interested in a life of law enforcement. Could I possibly get an opportunity to do a ride along?" They may very well allow you to. They'll do a background check. You have to, or make arrangements. It has to be obviously set up in advance. But I don't know what the process is anymore. If you know someone, that's usually the best way to go. Let's see here. Oh, it appears that things are broken again. It may just take a second to upload or to refresh, but I have not seen messages recently. And I see that there is a message from Stefan. When's the last message I got from TikTok? Oh, I have been ignoring TikTok unintentionally for some time because I'm noticing that it was 10:32 since I've had a TikTok message. Come on. Hang on. It was not my intention to miss you guys, but we've had technical difficulties. Yes, we do. See, we're possibly one of the busier channels, possibly maybe. We have people who want to actually ask questions. And as a result of that, I think we overflow the system. Green Diesel says, you mentioned a permit on private property. I thought you don't need one. In Ontario, you don't. Oh, how do we do this? How do I catch up? Drew says, morning, brother. Hey, Drew, what's going on? I want to try and grab some stuff here. Of course, now I've reset it, so now things are coming through. Question from Kirk, who says, I have a question. We have answers. The carpool lanes, are they being enforced at all? Carpool lanes are primarily on 400 series highways, and they are they are being enforced by the Ontario Provincial Police. However, every police service in Ontario is a little bit, stretched in that we don't have a lot of officers to go around, so we prioritize what we're doing. Obviously, prioritizing speed enforcement, aggressive driving, distracted driving, everything but the use of that lane is probably higher on their list of things to do. That said, it is enforced. I see people being pulled over for it, but so it is being done even if you're not seeing it happen in front of your eyes. And I'll tell you, I wish we could do it every day all the time. I don't like when people break rules. Just saying. Do ride-alongs cost anything? No, they don't. Any advice for the academy? I go in June. Which academy? Are we talking about the Toronto police? Who'd you get hired with? Okay, let's assume Ontario. First off, if you were hired by Toronto, you would do pre-Elmer at the police college in Toronto. Then you'd go to Elmer, and then you would do post-Elmer. It's pretty much the same at any place you go, depending on how long before and how long after it could change somewhat. But what's the advice? Don't party. Study. Take care of yourself. Don't get hurt. And I mean that, like, don't overexert. Maintain your physical ability, because I got hurt when I was there. I ended up delaying. I didn't delay my graduation. I actually managed to qualify, but I did end up having a problem like walking for a period of time because of my injury, which I was able to recover in the post-Elmer process and still graduate with my class. But that was scary because it was like, if you don't pass today, you wait till like the next class and graduate with them, which happened to a friend of mine who actually tore her Achilles, I think it was. And she was like answering phones at the college for like a year until she healed up and could pass. I didn't want that. I love her. She's awesome. I didn't want that for me. But glad she made it through. Greg Marshall says, missed my answer on golden helmet. I missed totally. So tell me what I missed. And also, Drew, good luck. But I'd love to know more about your story. Why have speed limits never changed, even with the improved equipment inside of vehicles? Green Diesel, I'm so glad you asked that. The answer, I think, is because drivers suck. I'm having way too much fun saying that. The reality is I think the quality of our driver in general has gone down. I think that there are far more distractions and technology in the cars that reduce driver ability. I think the only reason our death toll has not spiked considerably is because of the amazing technology that we do have. So if our numbers, our vehicle-related deaths from passengers within vehicles has not skyrocketed, more so than we've seen. It has gone up, but it has not skyrocketed. It's because of that technology. If we were to raise these speed limits to say we're safer, we would see more deaths. You would be countering the work that the technology is currently doing to keep people safe. So that's it in a nutshell. I think that if you want to go faster, I think we need to get our road fatal count down to 0, and then we can discuss it. Until then, we shouldn't be raising speeds. Yet we are raising speeds in some areas. So nobody asks me. What is the law for grandfathered in-car modification wise in Ontario? So exhaust systems that are was it 70, different technology for different types. If your vehicle was manufactured with a particular style or system, like if you had a smog pump instead of a modern system, well, it was illegal then, so it's grandfathered. But that's about it. Like you can have like seatbelts. If you're before seatbelt laws, your vehicle doesn't require them. Personally, I wouldn't get into one of them. I drove a 1957 Chevy police car to a car show. No seatbelts. Felt really, really, really weird. But yeah. What kind of stuff are you thinking about? Other than seatbelts and exhaust, I don't think there's very much. We have Hadiyet says, good morning from London, Ontario. Good morning to you. We have some friends in London. What happens if everyone stopped driving? I do a lot more pedestrian safety messaging. if there were no more drivers, I can't imagine not driving. I just can't. Are tinted license plate covers allowed? Asking for a friend who might have recently been pulled over after listening to me talk about it on a live stream. Is that what you were going to say, Dre? Dre sent me the copy of his warning that he got. He's like, I can't believe you were just talking about it, and I got pulled over for it. But you know what? These are learning opportunities. He got a warning. Yeah, license plate covers, frames, anything that obscures any portion of your license plate is not legal. Just telling your friend. Okay, water good. Oh, I can feel it. You know, you're thirsty and you can feel a trickle of the water as it goes through your entire, yeah. Okay. Drew says Kentucky. I don't know the context. Oh, you're Kentucky You're in Kentucky for okay. U.S. is very different for your police college experience, your academy. I have family that's in Michigan, and there you go to academy and then you get hired. Like here, you have to be sponsored by an agency. You have to be hired in order to go to the academy. So very different situation. I don't know what the Kentucky situation looks like. And Stefan says, I was about to answer, but got interrupted. I don't know. I got so interrupted, I don't know what the question was. 6 months, then 3 months field training officer. So for us, it's you know, you're living at the college and you're doing the pre-Elmer, post-Elmer, and Elmer, and then you're doing 10 weeks with a field training officer, and then you're a fourth class constable. A year later, a third class. A year later, a second class. A year later, a first class, and then there's ongoing training through your entire career. What is this? But Drew, let me know how your process goes. I'd love to know more. Maybe you come on the show and tell us what your process was. I'd love to know more. And I have a friend who's in Kentucky. He's a TikToker. I think it's Killer B. I think his channel is Killer B Tactical. He's a former police officer. He lives in Kentucky. You should reach out to his channel and say, hey, he was a federal police. I think he was Kentucky local. Then he went federal. Anyway, cool guy. So Waleed Win says, do you think a change in requirements are needed to obtain an Ontario motor vehicle license, as Ontario, Canada ranks as one of the worst driving regions in the world? If what you're saying is accurate, then absolutely we should be increasing it. I acknowledge that our drivers are not great. I make fun of them all the time. And with love, I'm trying to instigate a change of behavior. Not that it's not a hate thing. It's motivating through harassment of you need to improve. All right. Karam says, I'm starting a PEO soon. Cool. Where are you doing that? Because I don't think we have any classes. I don't know when the last time we had postings was. Either way, good luck to you on your new career. Parking enforcement is great. Are cops less strict on cars that are grandfathered in, and what age does it start at? So following up the conversation we started earlier, if your car qualifies for a grandfathering, it qualifies. It's not lenient or not lenient. If you qualify to be grandfathered, you don't need an exhaust. Well, that means you're probably riding a Model T. If you don't need seatbelts, you qualify. It's not being lenient. They can't give you a ticket for something that you don't require. Let's see here. See, and Emma says, depends on what laws you're talking about. And she's absolutely correct. User Lots of Numbers says, Canada laws are a joke. Catch and release, catch and release. Guess what? American laws are the same joke. Catch and release, catch and release. I mean, not all cities, but in New York, they're doing the exact same thing as what we're doing here. I don't know what to tell you about that. But it's the same. It's not that different. I mean, granted, they in Kennewick Police, they just did an announcement where they gave a guy like 250 years combined, but he was, for SA and all sorts of bad stuff. So when they do it right, they really do it right. But for minor stuff, everyone's gone to this catch and release business. Let's see here. Would you consider being a police officer in the States? Pros or cons to Canadian police service? Christian Manget, who asked that question. I have considered. At one point, I was very interested in working for the Las Vegas police, and I actually called them to apply when I was down there for a Blue Knights convention years ago. And they had hired a Canadian before, and there's some issues because in most jurisdictions you must be you must be an American citizen to be sworn. It depends on the state's law. Like Alaska, Canadians can be police officers. I don't want to be in Alaska, but if I did, I could be a police officer there. Where else? Is it Colorado? No, there's a couple of states. The vast majority of states require you to be an American citizen. I am not one, so I could not be a police officer there, but I definitely considered it. That said, policing in Canada is awesome. So, and I'm Canadian, so it was the decision was made for me, really. But I lived in Florida for 5 years, doing other things, not policing at all. So I do appreciate both sides. Okay. Moving along. Can you pass a cop car going the speed limit, or can he pull you? They can always pull you over. You can be pulled over for anything. Check your license status, check your insurance status, to check your sobriety. But there's nothing that says you cannot pass a police officer. Now, if they have the lights on, you're supposed to pull over, not pass them. So it depends on the situation. How long can I have my car? What do you mean? If you own it, it's yours. I don't understand your question. Are yellow daytime running lights, headlights legal? Yes, in Ontario, yellow or white are permitted. Leanna, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying. I think I see what you're saying, but I would suggest that you contact a lawyer, contact the prosecution's office, make a complaint. If what you're alleging is it sounds criminal to me, but I might be misreading what you've said. Okay. Angus said, it's crazy because I got a ticket for yellow driving lights. Yellow is legal. Yellow, amber and yellow are effectively the same thing. They are legal. And he says, I got it from Toronto Police. So that sounds like you've got a defense. And you can certainly go and file that. And even if you've pled guilty, like if you've paid it, you can ask to reopen that because you were under the impression it was illegal and you found out that it's not illegal. So there you go. It's perfectly legal to project yellow or white light to the front. And there we have my good deed of the day. No, I'm always about giving clear and transparent information. Give you the best information so you can go out and get what's righted and avoid problems. Let's see here. Do you need working trailer lights? I am the worst trailer person. I don't know. I only tow things that have working lights. I don't know if there's an exemption. Maybe if you can see the lights on the vehicle, but if you block the lights, obviously that would be an unsafe situation. But Sergeant Campbell, who is not here today, at least not here in the room with me, would be the right one to ask. So tomorrow, maybe come back and we'll try again, or send me a DM by going to TrafficCop.ca. If you go to TrafficCop.ca, you can actually get links to all of our social media. And I have all sorts of useful links and stuff and things. So check it out. And then send me a DM in the submission form. Also, if you know anybody who'd make a great guest for this show, not for this show, but for the podcast where I sit at that magical table and talk to people about stuff and things, yeah, if you know someone who make a good traffic safety, related police person, they want to be on the show, let them know. I ran into somebody who, last time I put that ask out there, wrote to me immediately and said, I'm a police officer from, I think, Durham. I want to be on the show. So we actually met yesterday at the memorial, and we're going to try and make that happen. Is it Kalina Ferguson? Hello, TPD. Hello, Kalina. All right, moving along. Is 20% tint legal? 20% tint is legal on the windows left and right of the driver, yes. Assuming that as long as it's not reflective. The windows behind the driver, rear passenger, rear window could be dark as you want. Windshield can have nothing. And 20%, just to clarify, 20% doesn't mean 20% of the light gets through. It means 20% light blockage, meaning 80% of the light is getting through. I think it's important to clarify because many people get this wrong. Like 5% tint doesn't mean 95% of the tint is blocking light and 5% tint gets through or light gets through. People reverse it. So 20% light blockage, 80% luminescence or transparency, that would be okay. Luminescence may not be the right word. Lumen, I don't know. Oh, la. How low can you lower a car legally? Generally speaking, 3 inches is the suggested maximum, but it depends. There is a maximum distance or a minimum. Actually, it's both a minimum and a maximum distance from the ground to the center of your headlights that you can actually have your headlights. So while you and that lowering has to be done safely and properly, so that at any point in the movement of your steering mechanism, your tires do not come into contact with body or frame. Because if they do, or if your system, like you chop the springs and you do it unsafely, your vehicle's unsafe for the road. You're going to lose your plates. You're going to have to get towed away. So there's a consequence to doing stuff and things. Where do I pay a late speeding camera ticket if the date is passed on the ticket? You can pay them on the bank. You can go to the ministry. Just take care of it, because eventually, automated speeding cameras don't prevent you from renewing your license, but they do prevent your license plate from renewing. And under the new system, it won't renew automatically for you whenever that new system comes into play. Can you drive in the middle turning lane to turn left in backed up traffic? Jamie, that would be misuse of the center lane. I would charge you for that. It could be also careless driving. It really depends on the observations made. You're very welcome, Angad. Bad Cat has smiley faces. User 4839294 identifies as a pig. I don't know why. Now they're sniffing me. It's weird, but okay. Whatever emoji identifies as you is okay. We don't discriminate here. Let's see here. We have confirmation. Yes, you require working lights. It's a ticket. I vaguely, and the reason why I even hesitated to answer is because I vaguely remember there being some kind of exemption, but I don't have the definitive knowledge on that. So thank you, Cathrilla, for that. Any advice for OPC? Same advice I was giving earlier. Keep in good shape. Don't get good sleep. Focus on you. Healthy body, healthy mind. If you're tired, you're not going to absorb information. It's a lot of information to absorb. There'll be lots of opportunities after you graduate to go to the go out for wings. By the way, I did go out for wings occasionally. I like wings. What can I say? But there's so much socializing potential. I would try not to get sucked into that. I don't know what the culture is now, but a decade ago, more than a decade ago, there were people who just barely passed. And your goal, especially if you were Toronto police, is to get in the top 25% of your class, because then you get acceleration through your process. So I'm happy to say I made it in the top 25 because I worked for it. And I would have liked to be the top person. I wasn't the top, but I was in the top 25. Good advice from Katrina Sim. Don't drink and drive. And don't drink and drive, plain and simple. Yes, that is the message. That is the best message. Hello, the booster seats required for kids. Hello, are the booster seats. So child safety restraints are required up until a certain age. Depending on what style or how big the child is, how old the child is, will determine what type of child safety restraint they need. If they're under 8 years old, if they're under 4'9", if they're under 80 pounds, if they're under any one of those, if they meet one of those three, they can sit with a seatbelt. Although a booster seat really does help make the seatbelt safer. So booster seats until they're 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9". I was trying to do it the other way around. I was confusing myself. But if you go to TrafficCop.ca, you can see all the regulations around it. Not sure what this is. We used portable lights in the trailer. We had problems on 400. Okay. Do I smoke on your time off? I do not smoke. I despise the scent of marijuana. So I would never be someone to do that. Tried it in high school, didn't like it. I moved on. And I smoked until 99 before I became a police officer. Like I smoked cigarettes, Demorier, and Marlboro. Ugh, I can't even think. Like smoking now makes me sick. Like the smell of it. Former smoker makes the worst person to ask about smoking. But what's the point of my story? And the answer is no. When would helicopter support be called in a pursuit? We don't have a helicopter, so I don't know. But anytime that we want to pursue them without, accelerating, You know, they're very useful because they allow to keep eyes on the vehicle, and it's safer for the public. You know, when you chase someone, they often want to go faster to get away from you. A helicopter is eyes in the sky, and you don't have to increase the speeds. Okay. Is it just the OPP doing breathalyzer for traffic stops, or municipal forces do it as well? Katrina, did I call you Katrina before, or did I misread it? Misread your name. Anyway, Katrina Sim, the answer is that since 2018, mandatory alcohol screening has been an option in Ontario, in Canada. And it's great. It's fantastic. It means without suspicion, we can make a demand for a roadside screening device without suspicion of alcohol being in your system. So we can give a completely unbiased, everybody gets it, or maybe 1 in 5 cars. It's all up to the officer right now in Toronto. However, the OPP and the GTA has basically flipped the switch and said everyone shall do it. And it's great because they're catching people that even without any suspicion are impaired drivers. So we are not mandated to do it, but we have officers that will, at the beginning of their shift, say, I'm going to do it for every stop I make. And that's what they do. And that is unbiased. They write it down first. It's not like, oh, I see someone who has green hair, we're going to stop them. No, it's based on that. Now, if we have a suspicion that someone has it, we wouldn't actually use mandatory alcohol screening. If we saw, the glossy eyes, the admission of consumption, the odor of an alcoholic beverage, we have suspicion. We would then use a standard demand. Leanna, I'm not going to repeat what you said because you're wrong. Yeah, you're so wrong. Okay. And thank you, Emma, for your response, because that's the appropriate response. Let's see here. Can someone who's on disability work for the service? You mean people who have disabilities? I'm a person with disabilities. I was injured in a collision on duty, and now I'm having difficulties with mobility, and I still work as a police officer. I can't go on the road anymore. That's why I'm here doing what I'm doing. But absolutely, people with disabilities, there are people in wheelchairs who work for the service. There are people who have vision issues. Some people have no vision, and they work for the police service. So we have people and opportunities for people with different disabilities, and we're an amazing employer. An amazing employer. Yes, yes, yes. Coke Machine says, greetings from Oakville. Thank you so much for this account. I learned so much. Coke Machine, you're very welcome. You are the reason we are here. Not you in particular, but all of you, everyone who watches. We're here to help the public, and I'm so thankful that we can do this because it gives me purpose. It makes me feel good. I like being able to help and educate and hopefully save lives doing what we do. How legal is it to put stickers on car, especially on back glass? As long as you have a clear view to the rear. Now, there are window stickers, decals for rear windows that are perforated. They have holes, and you can actually see out, even though you can't see in because you see the picture. But they're legal, as long as you have a clear view to the rear by way of the mirrors on your vehicle, the side mirrors. Dixon Siders. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Okay, you got me. Usernames have to be cautioned. I'm terrible. The number one killer on the road is speed. There needs to be more speed enforcement. I agree with you. It is a problem. It is a problem, and people don't believe it. Yeah, I'm not reading usernames anymore. My goodness. When will people learn? My mom almost got killed by an impaired driver. People need to stop. You're absolutely right. What is being done to tackle the ever-increasing cases of auto theft? So we need to do a lot of things. Preventative medicine is people taking ownership and putting blocks in place, whether it be electronic or physical blocks, to make your vehicle less attractive to thieves. They'll go to your neighbor instead of you. Not good for your neighbor, but it is good for you, and making it more difficult. But then also, we need to deal with the fact that we need more resources to go after these criminal organizations. And the sad truth is we take one down, we arrest everybody, and then somebody else jumps into the business because, hey, it's lucrative, and now there's an opportunity. That's what it is. All right, let's get into dad jokes because we're calling the show an end to the show. We're saying goodbye to the show, well, for today anyway, but we will be back tomorrow because that's how we do it. Okay, by the way, how much front windshield tint can be tinted? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. Nada. None. Okay. This is a question that I was asked many minutes ago. Is there such a thing as accelerating too fast, even within your speed limit? Yeah. If you're accelerating to a marked departure, if you're hammering down, if you're being careless, potentially stunt driving, it really depends. All right. So that was the one that I missed by accident. But let's get the dad joke here. What do you call an army of babies? What do you call an army of babies? An infantry. That's great. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. And Katrina says, leave milk and cookies for the car thieves. The cookies are optional. Milk is always good for strong bones. But leaving keys in the front really is good advice, even though people make fun of it, because it's about reducing harm. We have armed criminals who are willing to break down your door to look for your keys. If they find it, they leave, hopefully. Otherwise, they may find you and have a conversation. So it's a problem. Oh, what do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. I also like that. That's pretty good. All right. Do we play a song on the way out? What do we think? Can I pull up a song here? Did I create something here? Oh, I made a song. Do I know how good it is? I don't know. We'll see if it was a song for ASKaTrafficCop Draconis. And it goes something like this.
In a galaxy far away, where the force comes out to play, there's a tale of rebellion and glory, with heroes fighting for a brand new story. Swooping through the stars so bright, in an X-wing ready to ignite, ASKaTrafficCop take flight, protecting us from the Empire's might. Lightsabers clash, tension grows, from Tatooine to the Death Star's close. Rebellion fights for what is right, with courage burning through the night.
I just realized how hard it was to understand that. It sounded better on my screen or on my speakers, but it's amazing. That's AI-generated stuff. So I made that one for ASKaTrafficCop's wife made one for me. I can't find it right now, though, because it was a link. But it was like Sean the Jedi traffic guy. It was pretty funny. Anyway, go to suno.ai, and you can make your own songs. They're not sponsors, but I have been sending everybody and their cousin there because I have way too much fun with making music for people. I went to my massage therapist and I'm like, okay, give me the top 5 words to describe what you like. And then we did another one in Spanish, because if you give it another language, words in another language, it'll actually give you a song in that language. So I had way too much funny. Too much money? Too much funny. I don't know what I'm even saying anymore. Have a fantastic Monday. Thank you. And 22 degrees outside? Really? Oh, I want to go for lunch and wander around aimlessly. That sounds amazing. Quickly here, what age can kids start riding in the front passenger seat? Any age, as long as you have the appropriate child seat for them for their age. If you want more information on that, you can go to TrafficCop.ca. It's all there. But yeah, there's no regulation as to whether front or back is required, but back seat is best until 14 years old for their safety, to avoid being hit and injured by airbags. We got Jose says, a cop pulled me over for speeding, and my excuse was I tried to beat him to the donut shop. The results, however, may have been a ticket. In any case, I keep saying goodbye and not leaving, so I will say goodbye once again. And in the interests of the whole 5th and 6th, we have the what was that? That was not a true. That was Chewbacca. The other one was what was it? It was one of those little guys, the Ewok. That's what it was. Have a great day, everybody.